It's been a rocky and rough and wild season for you on the show this year. So I know that Sarah's return raises a lot of questions, going to affect a lot of characters, but I want to talk about her for a second because how difficult is it for her to be back?
Oh, it's really difficult. It's probably the worst place that she could have ended up. Um, and you kind of see her coming to terms with where she is and who she has to face and all those crazy things that happen. But yeah, I think it's definitely really hard for her and hard for her to wrap her brain around too.
And the last time we saw her, of course, she was with Boyd. They're in the woods. That's when everything kind of went crazy. So Boyd seems to be kind of protecting her at this point. How much stress is Sarah going to be putting on Boyd specifically?
A lot. I think she puts a lot of stress on Boyd. Sometimes she's not very good at listening when he asks her to do something, uh, because she's kind of in this weird place where she doesn't really know what's going on. So I think she's acting out of shock. And she's still trying to search for answers herself and trying to accept what's happening, and with that will definitely cause him to be frustrated with her.
And I mean, that's completely understandable. Speaking of which, I mean, the Matthews family is probably not going to be too thrilled to see her either. They're certainly not a fan, and there's certainly a good reason for that. So, if and when we see that confrontation, I don't want to talk any spoilers or anything, but how tense do you think that's going to be?
I mean, it would be really intense. But who's to say that will even happen? Like, she might just stay in the basement. You'll have to tune in and find out.
That is very true, and that would not be the worst thing in the world for her.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could keep going forever, and I mean, there's a laundry list of people that she probably doesn't want to run into. But do you think Sarah truly is a different person now, and is she looking maybe for some atonement now that she's back, or is it a little bit different for her?
It's different for sure. I think the person who she was in season one is, I don't want to say it's different, but she's dealing with the things that she's caused in season one and is sitting alone. I mean, she spends a lot of time alone, but there's always something really dramatic happening. And I think this season you see her really sitting in stillness with what she's done and facing those things internally, in turn, which will cause her to, act out in certain ways. But I think she's really different now than she was in season one.
Absolutely. It might be hard for her to find any friends or allies beyond Boyd at this point, but just tease for us a little bit. Could she maybe find somebody else that doesn't see her as this villain?
It would be hard from the other people's characters' perspective to find any sort of reason to want to like see the light in her. But there's always that possibility. Anything's possible on this show.
Oh, that is very, very true. Avery, when you play a character like this who's done the things that she's done or almost done, there's definitely going to be some fan reaction to that. So do you kind of stay away from what people are saying on like social media or things like that? Are you curious to see how fans react to the things that she does or the things that happens to her?
Um, Half and half. I think season one, I was more because we were releasing this thing that no one has seen and that we worked so hard on, and they didn't know her at all or where she was coming from or anything, and people really didn't like her at first, which is again is understandable. But from the actor perspective, I never view her as the viewers do. I don't view her as a killer. I don't view her as a psycho. I don't view her as any of those things. And I have obviously a real soft spot for her. I think if I didn't, it wouldn't, it would just not be, I don't know, it would, the performance wouldn't come out as I would like. So that was hard to see people kind of hate on her. Again, understandable. I think now coming in season two, we have a better feel of who she is. And everyone has a right to their own opinion, so I can't really be upset either way.
That is very well put. Very well put. Before I let you go, Avery, if Sara really is the key to solving the mystery of where they are, is it possible that people just aren't going to believe her simply because of who she is or how they feel about her? Could that be a huge mistake?
Yeah, there's definitely that possibility of people not believing her because of her track record, but if she has Boyd in her corner, then there might be some possibility of believing her because of what they've been through together.
Well, you guys will just have to find out. Watch every Sunday and wait till you see all the stuff that we couldn't talk about right now because there's so much going on with her. Avery Konrad, thank you so much for joining me to talk some From this week. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.